Support Wrestle Talk!
Click the thumbs up.
The dawn of the new millennium, the beginning of the 21st century, brought us so many things. We all got new calendars for starters, and if you're an actual millennial, it was probably one with someone off Hollyoaks on it who made your tummy tingle. We all had a major panic and then a huge wave of relief over the Y2K bug as we were worried that computers would forget how to tell the time even though they have internal clocks, and then they would just pack up for good. London got a big white tent where gigs happen that's called the Millennium Dome, and avocados suddenly got more popular than they ever deserved to be. Amidst all of that though, WWE concocted the most brutal combination of items that had ever been seen. One that wouldn't be bested until someone decided to combine an even number of girls with an odd number of cup, and that combination was tables, ladders, and chairs. A match so damaging to both wrestlers and the furniture involved that both fans and IKEA alike would rub their hands greedily in anticipation. With the pay-per-view that took its name from this wonderful chimera of household goods happening tomorrow, we're going to run back through some of the best examples of the tables, ladders and chairs match in WWE history. I'm El Fagidor Laurie Blake, and here are the 7 best TLC matches of all time. Number 7. Kane versus Edge versus Alberto Del Rio versus Rey Mysterio at TLC 2010. In a combo almost as rogue as putting tables, ladders and chairs together, this isn't exactly a quartet of names you'd expect to see in this type of match. But oddly, this sort of smushing of the disparate superstars is actually one of the true hidden gems of WWE in the past decade. Although this came during a time when WWE had decided that basically, I don't know, every other match should have been a TLC match because we want tables, this managed to deliver where so many others had failed. Paul Bearer had kayfabe died in the build-up to this match, which allowed Mysterio, Del Rio and Edgio to take advantage of the Big Red Machine for large periods of the match because he was sad on the inside. I don't know. Some of the more memorable spots were Edge performing a splash from a ladder inside the ring onto Kane, who was lying on a table outside the ring, and then Kane goes through his second table of the night, this time thanks to an Edge spear. The match came during Edge's final run with the belt before he was forced into early retirement, and so it's somewhat fitting that he was able to put on such a spectacle in the match gimmick that shot him to stardom a decade previously. He would eventually end up winning the match after managing to incapacitate the rest of his opponents, allowing him to slowly climb the ladder and pull down that precious belt. This one's rated R for Superstar. Number 6. Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk, SummerSlam 2009. There was a time when Jeff Hardy wasn't just a series of injuries held together by the brightly coloured arm warmers? Sheer tops and trousers that are one size too big. It was a time when he got all of the injuries actually. But he was damn charismatic while doing it. One of the best examples of this came at SummerSlam 2009 in a TLC match against, I don't know, some bloke called Phil. And it is a top-class, top-flight Jeff Hardy at his mildly masochistic best. The feud had been heavily built around the straight edge versus whatever Jeff Hardy was doing at the time, having no regard for his personal safety, clearly. And with Hardy having won the belt from Punk around a month before, Mr. P was a bit ticked off, using a multitude of weapons in an assault that even Charlotte Flair would have turned and said, "Oh, that's a bit much." Punk brutalized Hardy. The spot of the match came, as you would expect, from Hardy, who hit a terrifying swanton bomb through the announcer's table from the tallest ladder he could find, and now he's made of tape. Punk would eventually pick up the victory after a huge slugfest under the belt, which Hardy lost, sending him crashing down from the ladder, giving Punk the chance to pick up the belt and the win. Number 5. Edge versus John Cena at Unforgiven 2006. Remember that really great underdog who went by the name John Cena? You know the one. He's won a few titles over the years, starred in a few films here and there, nothing major. Alright, fine, yeah, fine. He's not exactly an underdog, is he? But in his 2006 feud with Edge, Cena wasn't actually expected to win. And this is largely because, in comparison to Edge, he was relatively new to the company. Unlike many of the matches on this specific list, it wasn't even a total spot fest either, with the two men adopting a more physical and often more aggressive style, with plenty of punches doing the majority of the damage. Edge had the home crowd advantage with the match taking place in Toronto, but Jonathan was beginning to show his never give up attitude that has served him well for so long, notably by giving him something to write on his tea towels. The biggest spot of the match was also the last, with Cena managing to hoist Edge onto his shoulders on top of a ladder before hitting what was then called the FU through 2 tables to pick up the win. FU indeed. And I know you can't see John Cena, but it's well worth rewatching this match to see Edge at his very best. Number 4, AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose at TLC 2016. This is by far and away the most recent match on this list, which in no way reflects the quality of WWE in the last 5 years. Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles put on a bit of a show stealer in their own TLC match. The whole feud leading up to this point had been one of the best of the year, with James Ellsworth playing a major role, and this match was arguably the best of the lot. As is the case with most of Styles' matches, AJ turned what could have been just a good match into a late match of the year contender, with the ladders turning out to be the favourite of the 3 weapons on offer. Because not only was Dean slammed onto one, but AJ found himself with half a ladder in his mouth when Dean decided to mash him in the mush. But even that was far from the pinnacle of the chaos, which arguably came when Styles, who had Dean exactly where he wanted him on a table on the outside, hit an insane 450 splash onto his opponent through the table. Crazy. And despite all of this, it looked like Dean would be the one to pick up the victory, and he even found himself inches away from pulling down the title before James Ellsworth turned heel on him, tipping over the ladder and sending Dean crashing through 2 tables on the outside, allowing AJ to pick up the win and all of my adulation. I love you, AJ Styles. Number 3, Team Hell No and Ryback, really, versus The Shield in 2012. It's hard to imagine a time without The Shield, but back in 2012, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were the 3 newest additions to the WWE main roster, having debuted at that year's Survivor Series. They were the vigilantes of their time and soon began a feud with Team Hell No and Ryback, and there were no points for picking the odd one out there. The match was bizarrely slap bang in the middle of the card, but anyone with half a brain cell considered the main event of the show. Bryan, Kane and Ryback were all seeking revenge for their collective assaults at the hands of The Shield, who'd kind of made a habit of beatdown since their debut and were to be served a bit of comeuppance here, but not exactly as much comeuppance as Hell Rhino would have liked. The team psychology throughout the entire match was immaculate, with both squads having times on top and being beaten down, and due to this being the Shield's first match on pay-per-view, it made sense that they would go on to pick up the victory, putting Bryan through a table with a triple power bomb, the big dog bomb or whatever it's called. Not only was it a great match, but it really cemented the 3 men as future main event players on the main roster, and rumour has it, they went on to do big things. Thank you very much, Ryback. Number 2, Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys at SummerSlam 2000. Almost nothing beats the original. Well, I mean, something did because this is second on the list, but almost nothing beats the original. It was a safe bet that the 3 best tag teams in the company at the time, Edge and Christian, the Hardys with a Z, and the Dudleys with a Z, would put on a show. But as this was the first ever TLC match in WWE history, fans weren't sure of what to expect, apart from tables and ladders and chairs, of course, because that's the literal recipe for the match. The whole match itself is fantastic, but the climax was out of this world. With Edge and Christian tapped to retain their belts, it was time for the Hardys and the Dudleys to go through some tables hard. Bubba Ray was the first to fall, falling through 4, count them, yes, 4 tables from inside the ring. Then it was Matt's turn, terrifyingly falling backwards out of the ring through yet more tables. Devon and Jeff were the last to fall, with E&C lobbing a ladder at them as they hung defenseless from the belts above the ring. And when I say last, I mean the last people actually in the match, because Lita was also speared by Edge, because why not, she was there, get involved. This then allowed Edge and Christian to climb the ladder and put an end to a sensational spectacle. A spectacle that would be topped just a year later. Number 1, Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys at WrestleMania 17. here we are. Undoubtedly the greatest TLC match of all time. And as is the case with 4 of the 7 matches on this list, Edge played a major role. He is a Feng Shui master. He is one with the table, the ladder, and the chair. I need to work on whatever the hand sign is for chair. Quite possibly the most played WWE GIF of all time comes from this match, with Edge sensationally spearing Jeff Hardy from the top of the ladder while Jeff dangled from the belts for dear life. Much like the first match, this was an insane sequence of increasingly crazy spots that were also probably increasingly painful. And it wasn't just the people in the match who got in on the brutality. Lita, having recovered from her spear, very nearly killed an endangered species by attempting to behead Rhino with a steel chair. All in all, it is a true gem in what was actually a fantastic show overall. WrestleMania 17 is considered by many as the best of all time, and to call this the match of the night is unbelievably impressive. And Edge and Christian once again came away with the victory, stacking tables on top of ladders to reach the belts. It would also fittingly be the last time that all 3 teams would go head to head, which made it basically the perfect way to finish off this feud. And also no doubt they'd run out of tables. Like I said earlier, it is TLC tomorrow, and there are some huge rumours flying around about the show, which you can find out more about by clicking the video on screen now. And why don't you give us a subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news. I've been El Fakador, and that was Lucha.